All right, Lando, Troy, welcome to another edition of the RoundTable. Today we have a special guest with us, USC running back Vavae Malepeai. Thank you for being on with us today. How are things going since all this craziness has been happening with COVID?
Things been going well. Just been controlling what we could control. So for me, I've been home. I just got back to campus, but while I was at home, it was a good time for me to really get my body right and just continue training, continue honing my craft, and really just watching film. And we were able to have meetings with our coaches online through Zoom and stuff. So it hasn't been too bad.
It had to be like a pretty unique experience going from having to be at probably I'd imagine a structured schedule where you guys have to be in the classroom or at the football facility to all of a sudden now you guys got to zoom in and keep your distance away from your teammates and your coaches, huh?
Yeah, it was at first it was kind of different to adjust to just because you're at home and instead of it's different when you have somewhere to be. So you tell yourself in your mind oh, I got to leave the house by this time. But instead it's like you're on Zoom, so it's just I'm at home doing something. I'm like, oh damn, I got a meeting in 2 minutes, so I hop online real quick. So that was different, and it was different just because spring ball was canceled. You get a lot of live action to look at, real film to look at. It was just film you had to watch from previous games or whatever different cut-ups the coaches had. So yeah, I mean it's different, but there's a lot of good things to it where we got to take advantage of a lot of different opportunities and still find ways to get better.
And talking to some of the other players, I know that they were sending out care packages, food, and all supplements and everything else. They sent it out to you in Hawaii too? All these packages?
Yes. Yeah, that was cool. I was actually surprised about that. Really, my family was surprised. They sent out workout gear.
Wow.
Snacks it's you get a box of snacks during the week where it's just peanut butter, beef jerky, mango peels and stuff. And then another box comes and it's the food box for the week. And really it's they said it was enough for one person, but I mean, I'll be lying if I didn't say it fed my family a couple times.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how's your workout coming along? I know you mentioned earlier you've been rehabbing, still trying to get to 100%.
Yeah.
You feel pretty confident you'll be able to get to 100% within a couple of weeks, couple of months?
Oh yeah, it's pretty much. I'm pretty much almost there, but it's just a matter of not getting too anxious about it, letting it run its course, and just kind of keep going. Not doing too much, but doing enough. So it's just trying to find that balance between making sure you're still strengthening the knee, but at the same time you don't want to overdo it because it's been an injury that I've been having to deal with. So I'm almost pretty much 100%, to be honest. So just gotta keep praying on it and keep moving forward.
Yeah. Did they give you a curriculum or something for you to follow in terms of how to work out, what to do, and what to work on?
Oh well, actually, they were able to hook me up with a place. Since I was at home the whole time, they found a rehab place for me to go to back at home. So I've just been going there, and I was able to get lifts in there. And last month I started running, so it's all coming together now.
Nice.
That's fantastic. So before we get into the questions, you had mentioned you guys had a little bit of spring ball. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? I'm not sure how many days you guys had, maybe 1 or 2 days, but what was the sense and feeling that you had when you guys finally came back out there on the football field? Was the feeling a lot different from last year where people just way more excited? To me, it seems like the culture has changed with the new coaching staff, and I feel like everybody's kind of coming together with that goal of, winning the Pac-12 championship and then, maybe potentially going out to hopefully fight for a national championship as well.
Oh, yeah, we for sure had a great attitude coming out on the first. We had 1 day of spring ball. It was great work, and you could see the coaches really emphasizing hustle. It was hustle everywhere. It didn't matter if you had to go 20 yards or just run from 5 yards, point A to point B. Make sure there's no walking on the field. And I feel like overall, as far as building a culture, not only the coaches, we really took it upon ourselves to play. So we had a lot of good momentum, and we're still trying to build off of that. Obviously it's different because of the whole COVID-19 deal and everybody being at home and separate and not together as a team all the time. But it's still regardless of what happened, we're all getting back to campus now. Like I said, it's coming back together, and we just got to continue to build off that momentum that we had at spring ball and throughout the whole winter conditioning program.
Nice. Yeah, so take me back a couple years. You're a star running back at Malepeai, right? Is that correct?
Mililani.
Middle.
Sorry. And, you had rushed for something like almost 5,000 yards. You were Hawaii State Player of the Year, Army All-American. You were very sought after in the recruiting process. And from a lot of stuff that I read, it came down to USC and Oregon. And, I was grinding my teeth like, man, I hope it's SC. I hope it's SC. For you, what did it come down to for you during that time to say, you know what, I'm going to commit to SC over anybody else?
Oh, yeah. So, for me personally, I'm big on faith. It's just the way I was raised. I'm a Christian. I'm a true believer, and I wouldn't be here without all the blessings that I've received from the Lord. So, like, I just really just prayed on it, on where it is for me to go. And I felt like in my gut, this is the place to go. And I mean, honestly, it's just like one morning I woke up, like it was late in the process. I thought I was committed to Oregon the whole time. And one morning, after praying on it so much, it's like something just didn't feel right as it got closer to signing day. I just woke up one morning and I was like, I told myself, I got to go to USC.
Yeah.
I just told my parents, they were like shocked, you know. It was like, I thank them because they were supportive in everything I wanted to do. Because my family was like a big Oregon family. We used to have gatherings together whenever Oregon played. I remember when USC beat Oregon at Oregon. I mean, that game just aired on TV not so long ago, but I remember watching it live. I'm just like, dang, a couple years ago, I was going for Oregon. Like, it's just weird. It was turned. I mean, like, at the end of the day, I'm here now. I don't regret nothing about it.
There seemed to be a time about 10 years ago where it was primarily Washington and Oregon that recruited Hawaii pretty hard, at least from the mainland. USC didn't really until, I guess, the last 5 years or so when they really started hating Hawaii a lot harder. Is that the way kind of why Oregon was so big over there for a while?
I'm not sure. Well, Oregon was huge in Hawaii because of Marcus Mariota.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
It was big before that just because of all the, the Nike uniform. Like, I don't know how it was for the older kids, but I remember growing up, a lot of the kids on my team that I actually played with Ian. We were on the same team when we were little kids. And Ian used to tell me all the time, like, he even tells me this now, like, you remember when we were kids and you told me you was going to go to Oregon? And I was like, no, you didn't go. And he still holds that over my head. Like, me and Ian grew up together, so like, he always used to say, like, yeah, at the end of the day, you ended up listening to me and coming to SC, so, like, as a joke. But, like, it's funny how things worked out. Now we're playing on the same college team together, so.
It's funny. Actually, I have a friend of mine up in Oregon who actually went to Mililani back in the early 2000s.
Oh,
and
nice.
He's a huge Oregon. And when he found out you chose USC over Oregon, you actually broke his heart. I laughed my ass off.
You broke a lot of people's hearts that day up there.
Yeah.
It was a great surprise.
Yeah.
Before Marcus Mariota, though, there was Masoli with the junior college from I think San Francisco, and he was a great quarterback. I liked him a lot. Despite him being an Oregon quarterback, I really liked his game.
No, yeah, everybody liked him too in Hawaii, especially just because he was Polynesian. And he also played a season at St. Louis too, so that was another thing.
Did he?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't even know that until people told me.
I was today years old when I found out about that. So things you learn every day.
Played at St. Louis too.
That's excellent. So
it's crazy.
You're going into your senior year now, so talk to me a little bit about your expectations for yourself and then the team as well for this upcoming 2020 season.
Well, so for expectations for the team, looking to build a culture, a winning culture, not for just this year, but for the next, for the incoming classes to come, looking to really just blaze a path. And I mean, long story short, nothing shorter than an undefeated season. Right. That's what our goal is, and we know it's not an easy goal, but we're gonna do everything in our power to get there. Like whether it's keeping each other accountable, off the field and on the field. So for the team, that's how I go. And me personally, I just want to contribute to the team in all ways I can. You know, like whether it's special teams and of course, obviously running the ball, but I want to make plays happen when I don't have the ball in my hand. I want to be able to lead the running back room and set an example and really just feed off each other's energy, you know, create energy on offense and make sure that when I'm in the game, the offense is getting a better chance to, you know, put us on points. So,
you know, as a redshirt senior, are you a vocal leader or are you more by example? How do you lead?
I'm not sure. I don't have to think about it. I feel like I don't say much, to be honest. I just really just keep my head ducked down and just keep moving forward. Yeah, so I guess I'll say example. I think I remember talking to the team like vocally like once. That was it.
Yeah. But like you said, you're the leader. You're the elder statesman in the running back room now, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my view on leaders is like it don't matter if you're a freshman or a senior. Like a leader is just like is someone everybody just flocks to, you know, and is willing to take criticism from. So like whether I'm a leader or not, I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right, you know.
Right. So what is kind of going back to expectations a little bit. What is it that you want to improve on yourself for this upcoming season? Because I've seen you've been here for a couple of years now, and I've seen you improve every season. The biggest improvement I'll say from this last season that I watched you play was pass blocking was amazing. I'd probably say you're the top pass blocking running back that we have in the backfield. We already know that you can run the ball, you carry the ball well, great cutback vision, and you catch the ball very well out of the backfield. But I think your pass blocking was very exceptional this last season. What are some of the things that you see yourself that you want to improve on as well?
I feel like for the most part, it's just keeping off the field maintenance, making that much more of a priority. Just keeping my body healthy throughout the whole way. Looking back, I've never really completed a full season. My first my redshirt sophomore season, I think, played it all the way through, and then I get injured against Notre Dame the last game on like second drive, and like if I made it through that game, that would have been a full season of me playing here. So really, I just want to be like, you can't make the club in the tub, you know. So I just want to be able to make sure my body's right to where I can contribute to the team in every way I can. And yeah, so that's the main goal for me right now. Just making sure my body's able to uphold a whole season, and yeah, and just getting better in every other aspect as well. Like you said, pass blocking, catching, opening place for other players. So,
how was that first year under the new offensive coordinator with the new system and everything else? Was it drastically different? Was there a lot to learn, a lot to grasp, going from T. Martin to Graham Harrell?
I wouldn't say it wasn't a lot to grasp because one of Coach Graham's biggest philosophy is to keep it simple. He doesn't like to make things too complicated, and as a player, I'm grateful for that. And I feel like the only difference is tempo has to be on point. You know, like one of the biggest advantages to running our offense is if we're able to keep a tempo, we can be real dangerous. So coming into the season, we want to make sure that we can keep steady, fast tempo that can be productive throughout all 4 quarters of the game and more if needed. So.
Yeah,
What was the difference in conditioning for that? Like getting ready, going from, you know, the gumbo offense and other iterations of offensive play to Graham's, you know, up-tempo offense. How was that different in conditioning for you, like overall, getting used to, so on and so forth?
Honestly, it didn't take much getting used to because I felt like it was just all mindset. You know, if you think about it, every team goes through a summer conditioning program where it's hard running, a bunch of conditioning, a bunch of lifting, and it really comes down to like what kind of deposit are you putting in every day? Are you making sure you're getting the most out of your work? Or are you just going through the motion? And last year we made sure that every time we stepped on the field, it was to get better. You know, it wasn't just another day just going through. So for the offense, it's really just a mindset because plays are coming in after once you finish, you got to look to the sideline and there's no room to talk, you know, like with the defense. like, emotion goes up sometimes playing football. That's just normal. But it's really just a mindset of making sure you're focusing on what the offense has to get done. So not paying attention to what defense is saying, just making sure after the play is done, run back to the line of scrimmage, get your head to the sideline, get the play, and get moving.
It seems like you're pretty conditioned, Vavae, because I talked about this to the admin guys a couple times when we watch game film. It seems like after every run, whether it's a short run or long run, like you pretty much jump up right away. Like you have a lot of energy. Do you do a lot of conditioning on your own away from the team to make sure that you're, prepared for the games and you can keep going?
Oh yeah, I feel like to a certain extent that's been made a priority ever since I was like young. Just my dad and my coaches that I've been close with. It was always like, in order to separate, you got to put in work outside of what just the team is doing. A lot of people on the team do that too. Like it's actually kind of pretty much a normal thing on the team where everybody finds ways to, because everybody got different schedules, but at the same time, it's like everybody's going to find ways to get better outside of just what's required from the USC football program. Like outside of that, find ways to get better. So that was the thing. But as far as the getting up part and bouncing up after you get tackled, that was just like it was a mindset thing that I've been doing since like middle school. I remember my uncles and my dad just telling me, like, every time you get tackled, make sure you bounce up. And when I was young, I used to do it just because every time I got up slow, like, I would get in trouble when I was little. And after a while, it just became a habit. Like, I remember in high school, we were playing the game, and we were trying to run out the clock. And coach was telling me to get up slow. But, like, after years of just bouncing up when you get tackled, like, I kept bouncing up, and then my coach kept getting mad because I wasn't getting up slow to run out the clock,
Yeah.
Like that was the first time I remember, like, I really do, like, get up after I get tackled. Like, it's not like something I do on purpose now. So now it's really just a habit.
Yeah. So quick question also, what's the biggest difference for you in the running back room when it came to, how you were being coached, as well as the running back room when it came to Coach McCullough and Coach Jenks, since I know you had both of them during your time at SC.
Yeah, Drevno too.
And Drevno,
Yeah.
yes.
So, like, I've had a new running back coach every year. Only this year is going to be the first time I get the same coach 2 times in a row, and it's been great. Like, a lot of people view it as a bad thing to get a new coach every year, but I feel like it's a little – or you get to take a lot of information from every coach and just put that into your arsenal and in your mindset of getting better as a running back and as a person. But, between Jinx and McCullough, I feel like their philosophy is the same, where it's you're the running back, make it happen. Just go out there and do what you got to do as a running back to make the offense better. But their approaches were different, I would say, where McCullough was more like, a little laid back, and Coach Jinx is like both. Like, he's laid back, but he can get
Snaps.
all up in your face too. Yeah, but that's really in practice. Like, in the game, for the most part, Jinx is just cool the whole time. He keeps a cool head on us. So, I mean, connecting with them was no problem. There's not much of a difference between the players. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just, I feel like the only difference is in age,
Okay.
Coach Jinx is older. He could relate to the players well. So,
were you able to do any football related stuff over during the last few months, or was this strictly rehab for you? Were you able to work?
No, I was able to do football related. Well, I've just been able to do like straight ahead running. That's
Okay.
what I've been doing.
Okay, so no cutting or anything like that. No, catching passes, working on your block. You could none of that.
No, yeah, catching passes, yeah, but that was pretty much it.
Okay.
I didn't run no routes to hit that.
Okay, so you're on your kind of mentioned a little bit. You're on your second year under Coach Harrell's offense. What is it like playing for him? What is he like? And do you think, as explosive as the offense was last year, how much more explosive do you think it'll be this year with guys like yourself, Step, Carr, guys that are veterans, good core receivers, and then, of course, you got what we call King Keaton behind center. How do you feel about that?
Feel confident. I feel like as long as we as long as we can keep a cool head and not hurt ourselves with penalties, there's no ceiling to what we can do. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to us executing what our assignments are. I feel like every game we lost, we just had a lack of execution. So, yeah, no penalties. And if there's no penalties, I feel like there's no ceiling to what we can do. So.
And what's it like with Coach Harrell? How do you like him? Is he pretty good offense coordinator? Cool guy?
Yeah, Coach Harrell's a more like laid back. You don't really see him getting in players' faces. He's one of those coaches where like he says something, just know you gotta get it done. You know, he doesn't need to raise his voice to get his point across. Real laid back coach, but he's a coach that you want to respect, and you'll know what's in the room. So,
kind of gives you that eye, right? Like, and you know.
Yeah. He likes to keep things simple, and he likes to go up tempo. So.
Okay.
You know, so all the focus this offseason has been on defense with the new coaches, the new attitude, new culture. Last year was all about the offense, right? With Graham Harrell coming in, all that intensity that we saw with Coach Orlando and with Naivar and all the new coaches, all the enthusiasm, has that kind of rubbed off on the offensive side as well? Are you guys feeling and feeding off that up tempo as well?
Oh yeah, everybody feeds off each other on the team, whether it's just in your own position groups, like within our running back group, or in the whole team. At the end of the day, we're always going to be together. Maybe in practice we go at it, but like when you see both sides getting riled up, everybody feeds off that energy, and that's what we're trying to carry into the season. So,
Jose?
Yeah, so with you growing up, you touched on it slightly. So Oregon right now seems to have like a bunch of juice when it comes to kids on the island. What's SC viewed on? What's the view on SC on the islands? Like, how do kids view SC as a whole? Like, we have obviously yourself, Kanai, EA, and then,
Olomao.
A great lineage of poly players, so on and so forth. But how are kids viewing SC on the island currently?
Oh, currently, kids are viewing SC honestly, they're viewing it like the same way as Oregon, where it's just like they're looking like kids on the island. They look at other schools like, wow, like they call it the mainland, So
yeah,
pretty much the same thing. It's just I feel like we have more. I think we have more kids from Hawaii on the team than Oregon does on the team. So it's kind of another thing where they look up to us as role models, and it's weird for me to say that, honestly, but that's like what it is. So
it's the truth, man.
Yeah.
You hold it well. Like you talked earlier, you're the type of player that does the talking with their pads, but you're also, just from your mannerisms right now, from what I'm listening to and seeing, just with the way you handle yourself, you're a distinguished leader. So, keep that true to yourself and keep that going, because it's a great quality to have.
Always.
And it's great to use that humility going forward. Also, your running back room, you have like multiple different personalities in there with, some kids that can get that done. How is it in that running back room as a whole? Is it, a bunch of jokesters in there? What's the vibe like for you guys in the stable of running backs?
Yeah, our running back room is vibe well together, I feel like. And it's weird because sometimes you see things in the media about like so-and-so starting or so-and-so stepping up, but like honestly within the room, like it's never been like that. And in the running back room, everybody wants to see each other ball, at the end of the day. And I feel like when you have a bunch of guys in a room that's going for the same job, but to have their intentions for each other to be pure and true, that's like one of the greatest blessings you can have. Like I've been a part of like all-star games where the running backs on the team were just like me, But when you're on a team where, especially on this caliber, where it's a Division I football and people are trying to get to the next level, it's different when you see other running backs being like finding joy in seeing the other person make plays. So it's truly a unique thing, I believe. And at the end of the day, like I said, with the whole team, we all feed off each other in practice and in the game. And what I like about our running back room is that we keep each other accountable. So whether I'm lacking or whether someone else is lacking, like we all get on each other for it to make sure there's no slack in the room. Whether that's practice or even walkthroughs. If one of us get lazy in walkthroughs with our stance or just with our steps, miscounting the steps, cutting the steps short, like we get on it quick and then everybody gets on it. It's not like just one person doing is it everyone keeping each other in check, and that's what I like about our running back.
Has anyone in the running back room challenged Keenan Chris into a foot race yet?
Oh, every time.
Anyone beat him yet?
Well, we haven't like really just raced one time. It's just like when we're doing conditioning, we'll run side by side with each other, and like in the beginning it'll be cool until like we get to like rep say 10 or 8 or whatever. Then Keenan is just on a different level, but we always tell him that we're going to be coming up on this.
Yeah, he definitely has a different gear, man. He's fast.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched on, your leadership, and Jose pointed out some great attributes that you carry as a veteran running back in that running back room. What are you doing in that leadership role as far as mentoring the younger group of running backs, guys like Keenan?
Yeah. Really just making sure that everything's good with them. It doesn't hurt to just check in on them. I remember, like, everybody's been a freshman before on the team, so we all know how it is to come in, experience a new playbook, and adjust to college life, and that's like all these different things coming at you at once. It's all brand new to him. So, I mean, he's got a year in with the system now. He knows what he's doing, and it's funny because even like being there, helping him out, like I'm probably learning more than him just trying to teach him, because like teacher learns the most sometimes, and so he teaches me a lot of things. And what I like about it is he goes back. He's the kind of guy that goes back and forth. Like if I say something, like if I give him a little suggestion here, he's like, "Oh, what if this happens?" And I look at it as I got a whole new perspective now. Like, dang, okay, like now this is talking it out. So yeah, like just checking in on him, making sure he's cool, how's his mindset going into everything, and again, I get to do that on myself. So yeah,
That's excellent.
Being there for him, man, that's the main thing. Let him know.
That's fantastic. Is there a specific running back that you kind of model your game after? And is there a player in both the college level and the NFL that you enjoy watching and you like to watch, and you're like, man, I'm just blown away by this guy, the way he runs the ball, the way he plays the game?
I feel like not really modeling my game after one person, because I know like every running back got his own style, but
right.
I do like to watch Juan Barkley a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Strong runner, but he can really to the house on the long runs. He got that breakaway speed. Le'Veon Bell, I like to watch how his pace behind the line. James, just got to do everything. So really, I just like to watch a lot of different running backs and take like certain aspects of the game that I can see similar to mine, and really just like implement like little styles and put a twist on it and make it my own. College running backs. Excuse me?
So it sounds like you're a Steelers fan.
Oh no, I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh wow.
So.
Well, what about college? Is there a guy in college that you like to watch play?
Chuba Hubbard. He's had some nice ones. I like how he breaks out. I mean, there's a lot of running backs. Really, I forgot his name, but I think he played for. Never mind, I'm not even gonna try. But I just really on YouTube, you see a lot of suggestions here and there. I like to watch our running backs. I like to watch Steve. Steve got juice when he makes cuts. I like to watch Marquise, how he breaks through. I like to watch Keenan, how he really just takes off.
Yeah.
There's a little something for everybody. I feel like that I just take here and there, but trying to make it my own.
You have any goals this year in terms of what you want to produce, what you want to do, other than stay healthy, obviously, for the whole year?
Yeah, everybody got goals. So for me personally, I want to have 1,000-yard season and 10+ touchdowns. So.
There you go. Gotta go for it, man.
You were having a strong season last year. There was a couple games where you had multiple touchdowns, before you went down. As far as last year, what was your favorite game that you played in, and kind of describe what it was about that game that made it your favorite?
It's probably UCLA.
Yeah, I just got done watching it.
Because we just beat UCLA, and like everybody got to eat in that game. I feel like the wideouts. We had 4 wideouts that went 100 yards. Keenan went crazy. O-line did great. I don't have a clear memory on it, but I'm pretty sure we did pretty good on the penalties. It was just, I feel like those were one of those games where just everybody was operating on great levels, feeding off each other's energy. Special teams did good. Defense was holding it down. And,
yeah, that's a good one. So how excited are you about the welcoming back party for Reggie Bush? And do you know if you're going to have an opportunity to get a chance to meet the GOAT of USC?
Yeah, super excited. It's like we've been talking about since I got here. Like I remember since I signed, like people asking me, "Hey, you gonna meet Reggie Bush?" I hope so. It's crazy when he was at our game against Utah. I mean, that was an awesome game too. But he was in the back. I remember telling myself, "Dang, that's Reggie Bush at our game." So that's awesome. I seen in his post, he said he was excited to get with the team too. So whenever this thing clears up, hopefully maybe we can get in touch. So.
Did you? I can't remember because if you were there, but were you not there when Reggie was in the locker room? I believe for the conference championship game.
Yeah, that was the year before.
Year before. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
It seems like the last few years, Hawaii football in high school has got a lot better. You kind of see it that way. You develop more talent. And, do you still follow high school football in Hawaii?
Yeah, here and there. But yeah, for sure. You see a lot of kids getting offers from the mainland nowadays. Back when I was in high school, our class was probably the first ones that had like multiple kids with the opportunity to continue their football career and school academic career at a university in the mainland. Like usually you have like guys, but in my class we had several dudes who were able to get a D1 offer from the mainland, and or any offer really. And so yeah, I feel like football is getting better in Hawaii, especially because kids and parents are more investing in themselves now. So you see, I mean, of course, had COVID this year, but for that, there's a lot of parents willing to invest in their kids, send them up to camps out here, and really get them the exposure they need to really bring in those offers and stuff like
that. What are your plans? I'm sorry, Terry. What are your plans after football? So say, you go into the NFL, that works out, so on and so forth. What right now as you sit, and that could be, an immediate turnaround or a long-term turnaround, what are your plans after football's over?
Specific plans? I have.
Or like your passion, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
What is it like?
I was about to say, I have done a little shadow internship at the news station back home, the local news station, with a guy named Rob DeMello, and he covers everything local in Hawaii as far as sports goes. So I remember him interviewing me when I was in high school, just about like team and stuff. And he still does like stories on college players from Hawaii that come out here. And so I've done an internship with him, and we would chop it up here and there. So that's something that I've always kept in my back pocket. But at the end of the day, I haven't really dove into like exactly what it is I'm gonna get into after this. So.
Are you a communications major?
Excuse me?
Are you a communications major?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
What's your graduate program going to be in?
Project management.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Jose, you got anything else for him?
I'm solid right now, man.
Okay. Terry?
I'm just impressed with Vavae overall, man. It was a great conversation so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, just so you know, Jose went the opposite of you. He went from the mainland to Hawaii to play football. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, many moons ago, dude. Many moons ago.
He played. No. He played there when there were the Rainbows, not the Rainbow Warriors, the Rainbows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, many moons ago. Loved it there. Great time.
Boys awesome. Boys awesome.
It is. Question for you then, food-wise. So island-style food. What in LA have you found anything comparable to what you have on the island?
I feel like so we have an Ono's on campus.
Oh wow!
And so I feel like if anything that's what comes kind of close, almost a little bit to kind of the drive-ins at Hawaii, but I don't know. It's not Hawaii, but it's good though. I'm not gonna say it's not good. It is good. Yeah. So Ono's barbecue.
There's quite a few places down in Gardena Bowl, Lahaina.
Yeah, no, I've actually heard about it a lot, but I haven't tried them. I heard it's bowling alley in Carson or something like that.
It's Gardena Bowl. That's it.
Okay, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah,
you have to make a trip there.
You gotta go.
Yeah, okay. I've heard that one is like off the charts too.
It's pretty banging over there.
It's a tiny little coffee shop in a bowling alley. That's all it is, man. But it's authentic. Yeah. There's some other places too, all through Gardena that are pretty authentic as well. So you'll find it eventually, man.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna say LA has introduced me to Mexican food. I've never been better.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So I'm not gonna act like I have nothing out here that I like.
So like going to Lucy's or going to La Barca, or where do you guys go?
I've been to La Barca once, but that's when I first got here. And honestly, I still wasn't messing with Mexican food. And the burritos they had were super huge. So I didn't really eat much of that when I went there. But there's this, really, I'm just into, my thing is quesadillas and they got to be crunchy. So there's this taco stand that pops up here only overnight on the weekends. It's literally from 8 p.m. to 5 in the morning. And it's right by our house. So yeah, I'll be playing games on weekends, say after a game. That was our thing. After the game, since it's right by my house, come home. It'll be midnight by the time we get here. I'll just go walk over to the taco stand.
Gotta add them calories fast, man. That's the way to do it. Keep that weight off.
It tastes super good after.
What's your go-to quesadilla?
The cabeza.
Really?
Oh, nice, dude. Wow. That's surprising. I wouldn't think that. Just from someone that's
I don't even know what's in it. I don't even know what it is.
It's good, dude. It's nothing bad per se or anything along those lines.
I like the pastor too.
Al pastor is delicious. That's basically the official food of LA, I feel.
So I ask them every time to just to grill it extra long so that it's super crunchy by the time I eat it right off the grill because right when they give it to me, I just eat it right there.
Dang.
That's awesome.
So now that you guys are talking about food, what's your current height and weight right now? And then what's your goal height and weight, or I guess weight going into the season?
Right now, I just weighed in this morning. I was 5'11", 225,
nice.
4. And I think my goal weight is 215. But honestly, every fall camp or whatever camp it is going to be called when we go into camp, I always lose pounds. I don't know how. I would lose 10 pounds. So yeah, I've went into every season at 250.
Nice. All right. I don't have any other questions.
Probably
Terry?
Christmas camp by the time we start at this point, man.
Excuse me?
Probably Christmas by the time they start. It'll be Christmas camp. You won't be fall by the time they start.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, we're hoping. Now we expect big things from you this year, man. I think you guys do really well. I think you personally will actually do very well as well. I think you'll adapt really well as long as you're healthy. And we're all praying that you're gonna stay healthy this year, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're gonna have. I think you're gonna have a good year, man. We're confident in that. So,
Jose, you got anything?
All good. Impressive interview. Dug everything here. Thanks for the time.
Yep, appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Right on.
Hopefully, during the season, if you have time, we'll reach back out to you and talk to you and see if you have time to talk to us during the season again. And we greatly appreciate your time, and fight on.
Sure.
Fight on.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
So, Jose, Terry, if you guys can hang on for a couple minutes, I want to talk to you guys about your thoughts on the upcoming season with USC and the Pac-12 just announcing that it looks like we are going to have a season. It said in the fall sports will be played, and it's only going to be conference games. And I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And is that an advantage for us moving forward, hopefully to a playoff bid?
Well, the question is, will there even be a playoff? You know, if there's people are talking about a second wave. We're still in wave number 1, and things are going on the way they are. If wave number 2 is anything like wave number 1, then I think it might be a moot point at the end of the day. Being an optimistic point of view on this, I hope there's a season, in the fall. That'd be fantastic. And I think, when it comes down to it, as much as I hate these guys because they've seemed to be a pain in our ass, for lack of a better term, over the past 15 years, it's to come down between us and Oregon again. And, everything goes through seamlessly as far as this state of the world we're in. The showdown up in Eugene could be something to behold. They have their issues on offense, and we seem like a more well-rounded team. So I think that's something that we can get into as far as making a bid for the playoffs, so on and so forth. I just don't know. I haven't been keeping up with what the playoff format would be if that does come to existence. Could you guys enlighten me on that one?
There's no talk about that even. There's no talk.
No talking about that yet?
Got it. I mean, we can speculate as much as we want where they're saying, it might be, be great to have an 8-team playoff. But there's no guarantee of that. There's just none.
Yeah.
I was kind of leaning that direction as well. I had mentioned a couple of days ago, too, that I felt like there's so much money involved with college football, and it helps out a lot of universities, not just in the sports department, but across the universities. So I felt like there was still going to be a season regardless, and I thought it would just be conference play. But as far as playoffs, I feel like this will be the year for them to use a waiver to say, you know what, everybody played only in conference, so how can we really challenge teams and say, well, this conference ranks better than this conference when everybody's just playing in their conference and killing each other anyway. So I felt like this will be the year for them to say, hey, let's go ahead and have an 8-team format with bowl games so that they can make their money and do, my opinion, Power 5 winners, conference champions, and then 3 at-larges. And that could either come from, a WAC team or, a second-place team from a Power 5 team that, has a one-loss game but lost a close battle to the, the conference champion or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting there.
Well, the reality is that's how I think the playoffs should be anyways, regardless of what's going on now. I've always thought 18 was the ideal thing. But, again, we're talking logically. We're talking, what makes sense, and none of the decisions I've seen so far make sense, or none of them is logical. It's just people just throwing it against the wall and hope, okay, we're, the dartboard almost is the way I look at it now.
I mean, the way I view it, there was a Twitter post that one of you guys shared in the admin chat from the NCAA, basically acting like a mother bird, shoving its child out of the nest, like, hey, you're on your own, get the hell out of here.
Right.
In a sense, talking to the rest of the teams, yeah, whatever you guys choose to do, we're behind it. And that's just a total lack of leadership altogether in something like this.
And that's exactly
They're
why
worthless.
That's exactly why I posted it. It's just like this tells you right here. It's like we're washing our hands of this whole thing. You guys figure it out on your own. Is the way I read it.
Well, they're mad because student
Totally.
athletes will be able to get paid now. So they're like, you know what? We're done with you guys for 2020.
We've taken all your money. You know, it's been a great long sham. To hell with you guys. Get out of here. Figure it out.
My opinion of this whole thing, number one, is I'm not sure they can afford to lose the football season after losing the basketball tournament. That's number one.
Oh, yeah. It's a double whammy.
You know, and my thinking is with conference only, you either have a season or you don't have a season. Conference only doesn't change anything. It doesn't, spending 3 hours flying from Seattle to Boulder, for example, how's that any different than flying 4 hours to Chicago to play Notre Dame? It's an extra hour on the plane. Is that going to make a difference between getting infected and not getting infected?
And then
are you telling me that everyone in a Pac-12 because they're a family, just like you can go out with your family to go eat, but not with other people? Are they immune to each other? It just doesn't make sense to me to only have conference games. In terms of how it's viewed outside of the conference, as much as we would like to say, okay, let's have this playoff and do this and do that, at the end of the day, it's all about perception. And I think it hurts USC and Oregon to not play out of conference because there's no chance to see SC matchups against Alabama, Washington versus Michigan, Oregon versus Ohio State. There's no way to gauge. And so we're left to the perception that out of the 5 Power 5, the Pac is viewed as the weakest. So if every champion goes undefeated and they stay with the 4, I guarantee you, whoever wins the Pac's going to get left out. It's just the way the perception works,
Right.
Let
me read you guys the conference schedule really fast and tell me what you guys think. I won't read the Alabama game and all that, but so the first 2 games were obviously out of conference, but we go straight into Stanford. We come home to Arizona State, go to Utah, home against Cal, which I believe is going to be the North champ this year, in my opinion. Go to Arizona the following week, home at Colorado, go up to Eugene, home at UW, and then home game. We own the Rose Bowl, so home game at UCLA. So what are you guys looking at as a potential game that, we need to worry about? And for me, I'll be honest with you, I'm more worried about ASU than I am I'm more worried about Cal and ASU than I am Oregon or UW or Utah this year. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, if Cal's quarterback is healthy, yeah, they're going to be a problem. It's just the kid hasn't shown a history of being healthy throughout his playing time. He improved last year slightly. So with that defense, even the slight improvements, huge. They just need the offense to be decent, not even good to great. ASU, I don't know. I still, people talk about Herm being this and that. I still see Herm as the guy that a lot of blunders in the NFL. And, Keaton almost threw for 400 yards in the first half against that so-called defensive geniuses team. Easy, went through them like a knife going through melted butter.
He almost 300 yards in one quarter.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. And, I think there was a lack of killer instinct on our end. Obviously, credit to ASU for sticking through there and making a comeback and making the game close. My worry is we always have trouble in gosh damn Salt Lake City. We've only won there one time. And that was literally that was the Barkley year, I believe.
And we were losing in the first.
Yeah. And both teams weren't good whatsoever that year in 2012. So that's the game that worries me. They're always going to get up for us, no matter what, at Utah and Salt Lake City. If that game's on a Friday, and mind you, I don't know what day the game's on, then it's real. Oh, dude, that's the worst, man. That's the absolute worst. So, those Friday games on the road, That's it. That's the game. That's the game that I'm calling. So where there's going to be a hiccup and people will be calling for Clay's head again.
Yeah,
But
see, the problem is we're assuming that everything stays the way it is, and I'm not so sure.
Oh yeah.
It just seems really would not make sense to have the games on the days that they're scheduled at this point. Utah scares me, like same as you. Friday night game on the road in Salt Lake City, we just always seem to just not play well. It's not any different than Utah coming in last year ranked in the top 5, and we kicked their ass.
Yeah, they returned the favor every other year.
Yeah, so that's just the way it works. I'm not one that worries about home games. I think that most home games will, I should say all home games, we always have the advantage. ASU is tough, yeah, but again, we're at home. So that helps a lot. I think Oregon is going to be a tough game. It's later in the season. It gives them more time to gel, to develop their players. If we play them early in the season, I think we win that game easily. Why? 4 new offensive linemen, new quarterback. So there's a lot. There's a lot to be adjusted to. New offensive coordinator, Moorhead. Later in the season, we're playing. If the season or the schedule stays as it is, all of a sudden we're looking at playing them in their 7th game where they have time now to gel. So that game is a lot tougher, I think, than we would like it to be.
And there's a bunch of variables too. So questions, if this is an all conference schedule, will they, have different dates on the schedule? Will we still be Oregon's 7th game? So on and so forth, whatever that is. There's so many variables there when it comes to planning, to get these things going. It's crazy. For me, instead of playing a conference schedule, I'd rather play a regional schedule. There's enough teams between, and I've shared this in the admin chat, there's enough teams between California, Nevada, and Arizona to handle a schedule. And the reason I say that is I don't know what the protocol is going to be for these kids. When they travel, are they going to have to quarantine themselves for 4 or 5 days in a hotel before they're permitted to play? What's going to be the standard operating procedures here going forward? Those things aren't known.
Well, according to NCAA, we're supposed to make it up ourselves, right?
Of course.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's a legit question. Even like I said, there's no guarantee the schedule is going to be the way it is now, in the same order. There's just none. We don't know when it's going to start. We don't know if they're going to throw in bye weeks or not. There's just so many variables that have to come into play leading up to that.
If I'm looking at it from this COVID point of view, I think that at least for teams in the conference that they will still remain the same, but we'll have more time. We'll have more bye weeks this year, and it actually will help out the teams because, for example, we have Alabama, New Mexico the first 2 weeks. Well, guess what? We're not going to play the first 2 weeks. We're just going to practice. Well, that keeps us away from potentially being involved with other teams to get COVID. So that's more of a break for us. So now we go into week 3. We're playing our first game, week 4, and so on and so forth as the season progresses. And wherever there's an out-of-conference game, that'll just be an additional bye week for that team where they can, test players to make sure that they don't have COVID. And if they do, then they're probably not going to be traveling. They won't be participating with the team and so on and so forth. But kind of to get back on the teams in the Pac-12 and who could potentially be a hiccup for us. Yeah, I think you're right. Utah, I didn't realize it was on a Friday night. But I feel like this year with Coach Orlando and the defense, that's going to be huge for us. Additionally, Keaton Slovis is going to be a Heisman campaign quarterback this year, and he might actually win it as a sophomore. I definitely feel like he's going to have the numbers. Utah's going to play tough at home. They lost a major quarterback, and that quarterback used his feet tremendously against our defense to get those extra yardages and to make the plays to keep the drives going. And they lose a first-round running back, and a big-time receiver. So that was the bulk of their offense right there, and that's going to be huge for them if they don't have playmakers. So I think we actually do win that game. I don't think it'll be as close as people think. I would probably say 35-20, maybe 40, 41-20. We win that game. I say Cal because I feel like Wilcox, as the head coach, is doing a good job up there recruiting. He's gotten that defense down pretty good. But as you said, Jose, if that quarterback comes with some intangibles this season, they're going to be a tough team to beat because that defense is legit. That defense is really good. And ASU, even though it's at home, that's kind of going to be like a home game for them too, because there's a lot of Cali kids on there. There's a lot of players that came from Cali that played on these 7-on-7 teams that are now at ASU. Coaching staffs are from California. So it's going to be, not a home game for them, but they're going to have, a lot of good fans. There's going to be a lot of kids that have played against each other. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But I think we still win that game. But I feel like that could be the potential hiccup for us. And then for Oregon, I mean, they don't have the DeAnthony Thomases. They don't have the Kenyon Barners anymore. Their O-line is going to be pretty good. But who's their quarterback going to be? I know they had a kid that they redshirted from Texas, I believe. That's supposed to be pretty good, but nobody's been proven up there yet. And they don't have anybody, making extraordinary plays on the outside at receiver either,
Well,
I mean, no, they don't.
According to Johnson's up there. He was a leading receiver at his back. He's got almost 1,000 yards last year.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Verdell's fast, but I don't know.
He's a north and south runner. He's not like
Micah Pittman. If he's healthy, he did some good things last year. He's not a speedster, but he makes plays. So they got some pieces, but again, like you said, they're relying on most likely Tyler Sloth, I think, is who they're going to want to be having as a quarterback. Redshirt sophomore, I believe he is.
Or did they get a transfer? Did they get a transfer?
No, they didn't. They were going after a couple of transfers. Remember, they're going after the kid from Wake. They're going after the from Houston, and he didn't get out of one of those guys. There was someone else they were going after as well. I don't remember who else it was, but no, they're going forward with whoever they have. Utah actually has a transfer quarterback out of South Carolina. I forget his name, but supposedly he's going to be most likely the starter.
He started at South Carolina.
Huh?
He started at South Carolina for a time. For
a few games, right? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yes. But he's coming in. But again, you're also you're replacing an 1,800-yard running back at Utah. But the only thing good about Utah is for one of the few times they actually returned 4 out of 5 offensive linemen. So that's an advantage. That's good for them.
The offensive line was kind of bad last year, though, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I know. But, still, year of experience always, helps,
But then you also had a quarterback that can make up for the bad play on the O-line, right? And they're not going to have that this year.
Yep. Yeah.
And wasn't Navarre the DC for Texas when they blew up Utah?
Yeah. He was the winner in DC. So on defense for Utah, they lost a lot. They were surprised where they had 4 or 5 guys that could have gone to the draft the year before, and they all decided to come back. So that defense last year was a veteran defense. A lot of good players, but they still got blown up by Oregon. Again, same thing. And now this year, those guys are all gone. You don't reload at Utah. At least I'm at. You don't just plug in new guys and keep going. No. You're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose your talent, and it's going to be it's going to take time to redevelop that talent. Whether or not the Morgan Staley issue is going to be an issue at all, I don't know. Because that was the only thing that wasn't. The only reason I think that wasn't as big as it was is because there really was no college football.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing going on, but we'll see. There's a lot of other issues going on. So,
yeah, and I don't think
it's going to be a wacky college football year.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think UW's going to be that great. I think they actually lose at least 3 games this year. They got a transfer quarterback in from Sacramento State, I believe. But, to his credit, he was like the conference player of the year for that conference that they play. And I think they play Eastern Washington, Montana Grizz, Montana State. So it's a pretty good conference, but I just don't think UW is going to have anything in the tank this year. And obviously a new head coach, new culture shift, the way he's going to run the program. So I don't foresee them being that strong of a team this year. They have some good talent, but they don't have. I don't think they have the experience.
Well, they lost. I think Trey Adams and one of the other offensive linemen. new quarterback, new running back as well. I don't think their receivers have anything proven there as well. Defensively, on the defensive front, like always, they're going to be strong at the defensive line. Their linebackers, I think, will be good, but I think their defense will be okay. The defense will keep them in it. But I agree. I think they lose to Cal. I think they lose to Oregon. I think they lose to USC at a minimum. They'll probably lose to Stanford, possibly. I'm not sure who else they play in the South, but there's a real possibility they're coming back down to earth this year.
Hell, Oregon State's going to be much improved, and they might beat Washington this year. Oregon State's running back solid. Because their coach, who from UW, is solid. They can surprise some people. Not saying UW's and have an extreme fall from grace, but people are improving over there. Stanford needs to watch out as well. Stanford, with all the transfers they had going on and all the issues, they could legitimately be the bottom dweller of the Pac-12 North. Crazy to think.
Yeah.
They lost about 15 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if UCLA is going to have enough players to have a team this year.
I don't even know if they're going to play football in Westwood at all. Exactly.
Do they play football at Westwood?
According to those off Figueroa, they do not play football in Westwood.
That's great. So, all right, fellas, I don't have anything else this evening for our roundtable discussion unless you guys want to continue to talk about something different.
No.
I'm good, guys.
All right. That's about it. Out of curiosity, I mean, I know you guys are familiar. The coach at Washington State used to be at Hawaii, right? Radovich or whatever his name is?
Yeah, he's badass, dude. Well, and the thing is, I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter. That guy talks trash like nobody's business, man. I forget. So Oregon State tried to steal some kids on the transfer level from UH, and the amount of trash and the amount of trolling he did at Oregon State was phenomenal.
I remember.
It was absolutely phenomenal.
I remember that.
Phenomenal. Yeah, and all those things, he's gonna be a more dynamic version of Leach up there, which could be scary at the end of the day. Washington State's not going to be where he ends up at. He's going to get a bigger job than Washington State. It's just at what level. Yeah. He's that good, that dynamic.
Yeah, that's good. Everyone thinks that there's one of six in the North. I don't think so. I think they're going to be much better than people imagine it to be. I mean, there are.
Well, hopefully they can knock off Oregon. I'd like to see Oregon State make a little comeback here and get some love. It's been 20 years since they were pretty good back in 2000 Fiesta Bowl time frame. So it'd be nice to see them do something in the North.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the funny thing is, you talk about that quarterback going to Sac State up to Washington. Remember, Sac State beat Oregon State.
I know,
right? So the kids got skill.
Yeah,
kids got some skill. We'll have to see. All right,
fellas.
Cool, guys. Have a good one.
Right,
take care, everyone.
Weekend.
Fight on. Bye.